The human eye is so limited, we see only a tiny little sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum. It's like if you owned a grand piano in your house, but you could only hear one note on it. Normally, carbon dioxide gas is invisible to the human eye, but certain wavelengths of infrared will be absorbed by gases like CO2 or methane. So that's what's going on here. This camera has a very particular color filter on it, enabling us to visualize the CO2 gas that's coming out of our noses and mouths.
We had two cameras. One camera that sees what your eye sees, and the other, what the fossil fuel companies don't want the rest of the world to see, the carbon dioxide world.
Let's do this one coming at us.
Everybody steady. 3, 2, 1. I mean, it's disgusting, but it's beautiful.
So let's go to the left here.
On the left here?
Real slow,
so these guys are going to be good. Slow creep. Slowly, slowly, slowly.
Slowly. Wow.
Just about everything that we do emits carbon dioxide. From the way we heat and air condition our houses, the way we do our transportation systems, whether it's planes, trains, or automobiles. Just about everything pumps out vast amounts of carbon dioxide. But you can't see it. To be able to see this hidden world was like, you were let in on this magic trick. But the magic trick is actually killing the planet.
This looks like a big parade of crap, doesn't it?
Filth. Yep.
So what are you working on, buddy?
Come on in, I will show you.
Is this your flux capacitor?
It's close. It's,
right here, actually. I can spin this. You see
it
this?
shoots carbon dioxide.
I mean, what, the government hiring you? Who's doing it? You just doing it your own thing or what?
Yeah.
It's like a science project.
Science
project.
In many ways, our generation is the one with the last hand on the throttle that just pushes that throttle down. We're putting so much carbon dioxide and so much methane into the atmosphere. It's quite possible, if you think about it, that the baby boom generation itself is the single most impactful generation of mammals this planet has ever seen.
In the Anthropocene, we're changing every parameter. We're changing the geology of the planet, we're changing the chemistry of the ocean. The Anthropocene means that what happens to this planet is now in our own hands. When you take any drop off the ocean anywhere, and you look under a microscope, there's so much beauty there on this tiny scale. This miniature architecture that I never tire of looking at.
Our first speaker is Boris Worm, and he's published a number of important and controversial papers in recent years on the decline of phytoplankton.
When I give a talk on plankton, I say, first of all, let's take a breath and let's take a second breath, and then contemplate the fact that that second breath came from the ocean, because it was produced ultimately by phytoplankton, which produce half of the oxygen we breathe.
We're aware that we're changing the ocean at a global scale. So there's multiple human impacts ranging from fishing to climate change and acidification, implying that no part of the ocean is free from human impact.
Using satellite imagery and other data, Dr. Worm determined that we may have lost 40% of plankton production in just the last 50 years.
It's happening primarily as a consequence of climate change, and there is a lot of controversy because it's a big question. And if this plankton decline pans out to be as dramatic as we think it is, then that would be a big deal.
Your life depends on the ocean's breathing. And in fact, animals could only exist on land after plankton in the oceans had produced enough oxygen for them to live by.
have this illusion that it's the big things in the environment that count. But if you lose the small things, everything else fails. It's like there's this incredible web where we're all connected. And if you take out one little thing, let's say like plankton, everything, the whole web collapses.
It's like having a symphony. And one by one, you just pluck each of the instruments out of the orchestra. Do your last voices there. And then it's gone.